Hey guys, George, Diamondyard Sports Cards coming at you with another video. Happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy New Year to everyone. It's going to be a great 2026. 2025 was a pretty interesting, evolving year in the hobby. Prices of slowly rising for stuff. Some stuff has really gone up. Some stuff has dropped a lot, but it's been a good year in the hobby for sure. And I think if you've been to any of these shows, you can see that the hobby is strong. If you watch YouTube, you can see there's more content creators than ever before. So you got to filter through what who you find to be knowledgeable. But either way, people are sharing all kinds of unique cards and have different perspectives. But the hobby content has grown. The money in the hobby is stronger than ever. The collectors are stronger than ever. And I've really enjoyed watching everybody's the countdown videos that they've put together, the top 50 cards in their collection, top 100, top 10. These are really interesting because you can see how some of your fellow collectors have evolved over the years, how some of the new collectors getting in the hobby have changed, and what they're focusing on. So I think it's really neat because then we can get new ideas about what we like to collect or maybe how we'd like to angle our collection going forward. But anyway, for me personally, it's been a really good year in the sense of collecting and dealing, and we have a lot of shows coming up, which is probably why I haven't been doing a lot of videos, but I am going to do this one, show you some random cards, and then hope to do a end of the year video, which I'll talk about my pickups for the year. That's what I usually do at the end of the year, is what I've picked up over the course of the year. But we have Front Row Phoenix is coming up this weekend. Then Martin Luther King weekend and be Front Row San Diego, then Front Row Pasadena at the end of January. Then the big West Coast card show in Ontario, California, Valentine's Day weekend. If you have a chance to get out there, you should. It's going to be sports only, close to 700 tables. It's going to be really a good show, and it always is. And then we'll have the Chase Field show here, which is the first time they've done a show at Chase Field like they did with the Dodger Stadium show. But anyway, guys, enough of me just talking. I'll get to these cards, take a look at some unique stuff. Lots of interesting stuff, guys. Here we go. Well, first thing is this beautiful Hank Aaron all-time home run champion pennant that I picked up, which is from 1974, which I thought was really interesting. It's in kind of rough shape, but anything Hank Aaron I'm on board with. It's just a cool-looking pennant. So I'm going to leave that in the background, I guess, for now. Other stuff that's super interesting. Some old video games, baseball related. I've shown these on my channel before, but I just think they're really cool. Sears Electronic Baseball. Check that out. Let me put this down here. Sears Electronic Baseball. That's just wild. And so is it when your camera falls over. That's really wild. $10 at the time, probably I don't know if that was at the time, but I picked it up off somebody. You may remember this if you played this in the 70s, and you had to keep track this way of your outs. And the actual game is in here. It's not just a box, but I'm not going to go through and take it out. But you can see the incredible technology of the 1970s, all the futuristic stuff. So that was cool. This is another one. You may recognize this, and I've shown this before. This is Intellivision Baseball. Pretty cool. Major League Baseball by Mattel Electronics. This was for the Intellivision video game system, which was the badass video game system before Atari. So this is from probably late 1970s. Trademark, I'm looking for a date here. But anyway, thought this was neat of Intellivision. A photo. Here's a photo of Rocky Marciano and Joe Louis. It's a Type 3. But this is two original photos that they merged for their 1951 clash, where Marciano remained undefeated and beat an aging Joe Louis. I think I've shown this before, but just figured I'd show it again. The Polo Grounds, New York, Rocky Marciano and the former heavyweight champion Joe Louis strike their fighting poses as they prepare for the forthcoming clash, the Polo Grounds in New York on October 11th, which is 1951. It may be in the cards that the winner of this bout could get a chance at the title now held by Jersey Joe Walcott, who took it away from Ezzard Charles. Anyway, just so this is a cool photo. Again, Type 1s. This couldn't be a Type 1 because It's got 2 photos merged, but so it's the original photos merged into one. So type 3. So cards, just going to go through some cards with you guys that I think are interesting. This was a cool Shohei. Let me see if I can get some better light on this. Maybe going a little bit. This was a cool Shohei. It's a Topps Now. I believe it's his first American card. It's a pristine 10, so almost a black label. Obviously, Beckett being bought by PSA, or collectors, I should say. I found it really interesting that a congressman is looking into monopoly for PSA, and he talked about how his 4- and 6-year-old sons even know this is wrong, that there's only one place to go. And then they've cornered, basically, like, not cornered the market, but 85% of the market is now owned by collectors. So I thought that was interesting. I'm curious to see how that evolves. Anyway, this Shohei got 10, 10, 10, and 9, 5. So I thought that was a neat card. This is a card that always cracks me up. This is a nice Thurman Munson 71. Beautiful card. It's a 5 MK. So what's the MK? You can tell me what the MK is here, which I think is just great. Some kid, of course, wrote a little mustache on Thurman. I guess maybe in the course of the season or as time progressed, he grew a mustache and a beard, which I guess was against the Yankee policy at the time. But anyway, this is a great MK card. I just think it's hilarious. So I'm going to put this up here with Thurman's mustache in the background on this beautiful 71 Topps Classic. Cards, other cards. Hank Aaron, nice Hank Aaron, 72 Topps, PSA 8. Really well-centered card. Love this set. And just figured I'd show that one off. Didn't get in the Hall of Fame. They thought he might. Frankly, Jeff Kent getting in was kind of Jeff Kent getting in was not a surprise, but the rumor was that it was going to be these two guys might get in. They got Don Mattingly, Flair, Hot Gloves, and a PSA 10, and o-pee-chee, Fernando. Been picking up a lot of o-pee-chees. Really think that they have, they're just unique. I love the card stock. The colors on the o-pee-chees are better than the Topps. This card stock produces, I think, better color on it. But anyway, so Fernando and Don Mattingly will remain out of the Hall of Fame. Are they Hall of Famers? I mean, certainly it's arguable. When you look at WAR stats, they and Dale Murphy, I think Mattingly had a 46 WAR, and Fernando and Murphy are around 40. That's not typical Hall of Fame WAR. Of course, WAR doesn't really matter. It matters, but doesn't matter. I mean, this guy was one of the most influential Mexican, if not the most influential Mexican baseball player of all time. This was the Yankee captain and likely, the best player, or one of the best players in the 1980s. And obviously Murph was along with those guys. So cool cards, Mattingly and Fernando. This is an interesting one. This is a GIA 82 Topps Ripken. And this card is a blazer. I bought it years ago. And, I think maybe I don't know if I'm going to cross it or not. I think it would have a shot at a 10. The color is great. There's not any fish eyes. The centering's pretty good. I think that's not on the card. But anyway, GIA, I guess Mike Baker's company, before he did the gold diamond stuff and the NBA grading. And who knows, maybe NBA as a place will slip in as the SGC alternative. Speaking of SGC, man, I have an order with them, and we're now on week 7. So I know that other people have been getting 8 weeks, 7 weeks. I'm afraid this is going to go to 9 or 10 weeks. Still submitting to them, but they really, are going slowly, and I think that's intentional. They're a much smaller operation now. But anyway, so next card. These are 2 cards I picked up a long, long time ago. This is the first PSA 8 I ever bought, and it was in an old holder. I get it reholdered. This is a Hank Aaron. I remember I think I spent $100 on this way back in the day, and I couldn't believe, I got a Hank Aaron in near mint to mint condition. But anyway, first PSA 8 I bought. I bought this one at a show years and years ago and got it graded. Bought this in the 90s. Maybe mid-90s at a show. Got it graded in the early 2000s, and then got it reholdered. So Mantle 68. Got a 6. Heading towards the home stretch here, guys. Some good cards here. This is a nice Reggie. I picked this up this year. I just love the 70s, and you can tell by my collecting and the videos I do. Nice 8.5. I always wondered, what the hell is he doing here? And obviously he's throwing the ball, but his MVP year and a nice 8.5. I'm a sucker for the .5s, that's for sure. And speaking of .5s, here's another Maze in an 8.5. Picked this up as well this year. I know John Mangini, I have not had time to just rip that and crush that out. Normally I just rip that apart, because eBay says it's authentic. That's so meaningful. Anyway, which it cracks me up because what will happen is you'll have a card that only SGC grades, and then they'll do the eBay authentication. They'll ship it to the West Coast to PSA to authenticate a card that only SGC grades in an SGC slab, and then they'll send it back to you. And thank God they authenticated a card that they don't grade, but that's just the way that goes. Anyway, more tomfoolery in the hobby, of course. So last two cards, some very neat ones. This is a nice Milton Bradley, 68 tops. Ryan rookie I picked up. Milton Bradley cards were issued in a game, and what was really cool about this was you got a lot of cards. My understanding is, from what my research was, that you got a lot of cards, packages of these 68s, and it was all sports. Well, not all sports. It was football, and there were some cars, and there were baseball. So the Ryan, I believe, is the most prominent of these cards from the Milton Bradley set. Sometimes it's hard to tell. The centering is usually off on these cards, and typically they have kind of a white border on one of the borders, if not two. But this is a really nice copy. It's centered left to right really well. The registration's awesome. It's just a little bit low, but I figure the Nolan Ryan rookie card has been going bananas, even though there's a lot of them. But this is a rare version, of course. So Ryan Milton Bradley, and this is a card from my buddy in California, and I bought a lot of cards from him. But it's just a beauty, and I had to show it. This is a 1941 play ball Joe DiMaggio, and the color on this card is just outstanding. I mean, it's just as purple as the day. Midnight blue, purple, whatever you want to call it. I love this card, and it's just such a classic card. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this right now, but I may keep it. I'm not sure, but it's just really a neat piece of Americana of the most popular baseball player, arguably in the 1940s. He and Ted Williams were just taking America by storm. The game was taking a break, and then they come back and they just continued doing what they did before. Both of them were in the service. He was in the Coast Guard, and obviously Ted went to the European theater. But just beautiful card here. Classic card in one of the best sets that exists in the hobby. And when you can get one like this where, the centering's not perfect top to bottom, but the registration's pretty good, and then there's no whiting in the background, and it's just a bright card. Anyway, wanted to wish you guys a happy holidays again. It's good to be with the ones you love and your friends and family, and take care and keep collecting.